longtime fan. Do you hear that every day? Do you hear the longtime fan kind of thing?
Sometimes, and it's an honor for sure. Thank you.
Right. Well, congratulations on this new album. I think that everyone knows who you are, knows that you're this amazing, and it's my word, you didn't call yourself amazing. I called you amazing, that you're this amazing drummer, but I don't think everyone realizes that you can sing maybe as well as you can drum. Uh, how long have you been singing? Have you been singing the whole time that you've been a professional drummer?
No, no, not at all. Just singing around the house and just, singing things that I like, but, never done this much singing, and I've never recorded like this either.
Got it. When you're doing an album that's showcasing not only your singing, but your drumming, were you choosing the songs based on the vocals, based on the drumming, or both?
Um, well, both in differently on different songs. Like, you know, most of the songs that I recorded with Narada Michael Walden that we wrote together were written around the vocals. You
Hmm.
know, um, so mostly these songs were coming from vocals, but a couple of them were coming from this drum idea. Um, like Super Bad came from a drum idea. Um, I Need a Drummer came from a drum idea. You know, so those were built around those grooves that I came up with.
Those were the two songs I was about to spotlight literally and say, if you go until the end, the drum fills at the end are ridiculous. Are you able to sing and drum at the same time easily?
Easily? No, not easily. There's a fine line of making each entity have its quality of sound and
Hmm.
its attack that it needs, and because I'm a drummer, the first thing I think about is the attack of the drums. What do the drums need?
Hmm.
How much oomph do they need? How much whatever do they need here? So that's really what I think of first. But I'm finding that you have to allow for each one to speak in its own way, and that's a big learning curve, and the playing and the singing together is a learning curve for me as well. I have to practice it.
Yeah, I like to ask that to drummers because there has been more famous bands than people realize where the drummer was also the frontman, like Jellyfish, for example, and the Romantics. That's what I like about you, sung by the drummer. There's so many of them out there. People don't always connect the dots. And sometimes I ask singing drummers, is it easy? And sometimes they go, oh, isn't it easy to play guitar and sing at the same time? And they just have that double jointed multitasker kind of mentality right there. Did, did you for this album record the drums and the basic tracks and first and then the vocals later?
Yes, absolutely, because you want the separation, you
Hmm.
know. So you want each one to have its own quality of sound, as I was saying before. So we definitely recorded each thing separately, for sure, absolutely.
And yourself included, it is a musician's musician kind of album. People have pegged it that way. All-star lineup across the board and all that. When you said like, hey, I'm going to make some music, did you know that it was an album and not an EP?
Um, you know, yeah, kind of, because there's a story that you want to tell, and there was a story that I wanted to tell, which kept building, and it kept building and building and building. And we started out with the instrumentals first, and then we kind of slid into some vocal things, and then when I did two vocal things, Dance Party and Evolution Revolution, and then when I hooked up with Narda, then we started doing all these other vocal tracks. So it had a snowballing effect.
Yeah, and is it Narada or is it Narda? I've always been saying it wrong if it's not Narada.
It looks like Narada because that's the way it's spelled, and that's the way I was pronouncing it, but it's Narda. I was corrected on that one. Carlos corrected me. He said, no, but it's Narda. I said, but it looks like Narada. And he said, no, but it's Narda. I was like, okay, okay. Narda it is.
I've had the pleasure of interviewing him before, and amazingly, he's in Journey now. You know, the guy doesn't need a job, and he takes a touring gig like that. It must be a fun kind of thing. Not everybody realizes that besides being this award-winning producer, he's also primarily a drummer. Did you choose him because he was your friend, or did you choose him because you wanted a drummer as the producer?
Had nothing to do with the drumming, and he's like my brother, but it had really, a great effect that we're so close because, we're very good friends. But he wanted to produce me. I was too shy, to really ask him because he produced so many great singers and real singers, which I don't consider myself to be.
I do.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Carlos gets mad at me when I say that, but it's true. I think of myself as a drummer who's doing some singing. And Narda, he heard a track that I sang with Carlos on the Power of Peace record, the Santana Isley record, a song that I wrote called I Remember. And so he said, I want to produce you. And I was like, man, you can't produce me. I'm not, I'm not a singer. And he said, oh, Cindy, you're a singer. And trust me, I can produce you. And I kept pulling back and he kept pushing, and I was like, okay, there must be something there. I mean, he's a smart guy, and he doesn't just talk, he says what he means. I've never heard him just say something frivolously. So, I said, okay, let's go for it. So then we started working from there. And, so it happened very organically. Mm-hmm. And because he's such a great producer, it was an honor that he wanted to produce me. I like the fact that he's a drummer because we speak the same language, and then you add in the fact that he's a dear friend, it makes it all the more comfortable.
It's interesting that he kind of told you that, hey, I should produce you or we should work together. Pulling the curtain back a little bit, another musician that's been rep by the same publicist you, Joe Barksdale, NFL player turned blues guitarist. I said, how'd you wind up working with Narda? And he goes, oh, he said he wanted to produce me. So that sounds like a guy who's looking around going, I could do that.
Yeah, I think he is.
A positive disposition. And you also have always come across as a very positive person. People who really dig back. Again, music school, you hustled before you had the Lenny Kravitz gig, to say the least. And if I've read correctly, your first gig was at Pink Pop with Lenny?
Yeah, that was one of my first gigs, and that was incredible. Pink Pop. That was my first big festival ever. And there were like at least 70,000 people there. It blew my mind. There were so many people. And, it was in the summer, and so you had all these cats waving, and a lot of guys had their T-shirts off, and then so you just saw arms, you just saw this, in the audience, and it messed with my equilibrium. I had to stop looking at them. I couldn't play for a second when I was looking at it. It just made me feel wobbly, so I had to get used to that. It was pretty amazing.
I can imagine. And if we go down, all the credits and gigs you've played for 100,000 people. And then you've played that, for example, with Carlos, when you did the Vegas residency gigs, that's to like 700, 800 people, kind of like an intimate thing. Do you prefer the big crowds or the smaller crowds at this point?
I like them both. There's something to be said about each one. The intimate crowds, really give you a beautiful feel. It's very comfortable, and it's great for them because they can really feel the music and the musicians. They can see everybody, so you can really get a full picture of what's going on. But then the big crowds, there's so much energy. It's so exhilarating with all that energy. And small crowds are exhilarating too, but the big crowds, when you have 100,000 people and everybody's just cheering and, into the music, and it's like, whoa, it's really amazing, and then, for me, and playing with Lenny with those really huge crowds, it made me aware of making the person in the very first row and the 100,000th person in the last row feel the music and feel what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it expands your awareness. And then when you take that awareness back to the smaller venues, the theaters and the clubs, then it just makes that bigger, and it makes you want to really touch every single person in there, So I love both, really.
Do you know anything about 2021? Like, do you have any plans of as to whether there may be gigs in support of the album, or is just everything on hold?
Everything is on hold right now. We're all waiting to see. We were supposed to tour with Santana in this summer. We were supposed to do a tour with Earth, Wind, and Fire and Santana.
Right.
So that'll probably be the next thing that we do. Next thing that I do, because hopefully that's going to happen next summer, 2021. But again, we have to see. And then, my record, hopefully I'll be able to tour that sometime after that. We'll see how that works. But it's all going to be dependent upon what's happening, with traveling,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening with club openings. And, I think we're all in the same boat with that. We're all just kind of on pins and needles waiting and hoping that, we get some clarity and also that, people are going to be safe and healthy. And that's the main thing. We want people to be safe and we want people to be healthy.
Aside from all this, what's the longest you've ever been off the road? I can't imagine it was more than 4 months.
This is the longest I've ever been off the road. This period, last gig I did was in Baltimore in March. I played at the end of February. I played New York City with my band. We played at the Blue Note, and then we went to Keystone Corner in Baltimore and played. And I came home to the Bay Area on March 9th, thinking that we were going to be leaving to go to Europe with Santana on the 10th. And Carlos came to the airport and picked me up and he said, "I got some news for you. The tour is canceled." And I knew that maybe the first gig might be canceled, but he said the whole tour is canceled. So, this is the longest I've been off in my professional career.
Has being home this much led to the discovery of any new hobbies or things you didn't have time to do?
Oh, that's a great question. It's been a great chance for me to learn how to do some things because, we had already recorded the music for Give the Drummer Some, but we needed to do videos and we couldn't we were in Kauai at the time, and we didn't have a team over there. So there's nobody to help. So I had to do the videos myself. So I got my iPhone out and I started videoing myself. I videoed Carlos, and then I had to go through and edit the stuff that I wanted and then send that to our main editor. So
Yeah.
I learned how to do all that. I learned how to record guitar because Carlos had some things to do. And, our great engineer, who we got, share, and stole from Narada, Jim Wrightsell, he is teaching me how to be his assistant, his remote assistant. So, he tells me what to do and where to set the mics and what to do here and there. And then, with Carlos, it's very easy because he knows where he wants his microphone set. He's like, no, I don't want it there. I want it there, and I want it this way, and I want to turn that way, and I want
Right.
this. I'm like, okay. So I've learned how to record him. I've learned how to better record myself on drums. I've learned how to record vocals because I had to record some vocals. We did a song with and for John McLaughlin called Quarantine Blues. And so I recorded Carlos' guitar, I recorded my vocals, and I recorded my vocals on a couple of other things. So this has been a real learning curve. I'm getting more familiar with Pro Tools thanks to Jim. He's my teacher.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've learned how to do a lot of stuff in this period. It's been amazing for that.
I'm so glad to hear that, really, because I personally could tell you the good things that have happened as a result of this pandemic. It really forced me to learn how to edit video just like you, to edit audio as well, thanks to Audacity and Wondershare Fillmore and all that. And then also not just read, but learn new stuff all the time. So it's so refreshing to hear that you got an album done, you learn new stuff, and you pushed your artistry forward in front of the camera and behind the camera as well. So have you discovered any bad TV shows or new TV show kind of addictions as a result of all that as well?
My husband loves, what is it called?
Don't say 90 Day Fiance, because I don't want to hear Carlos watching that.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. That wouldn't enter our home. No. I wouldn't even sit for that if he did like it, but he wouldn't like that. No, NCSI.
Yeah.
Los Angeles he loves that, and he turned me onto that. So now we're both into that. But we read a lot. I don't watch a lot of TV. I read a lot. I read a lot of books, and he reads a lot of books. We listen to a lot of music. So I'm able I've been able to catch up on a lot of reading. I'm reading a book called The Knowledge Book, which is like this thick. It's a huge book. And so, that's been a great undertaking for me because I've committed to reading a certain amount of that book every day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. I also do balancing meditations and focusing, and then I study metaphysics, so I've been able to.
Oh, wow. You really do push the ball forward in every way. Wow.
I try to, man. I want to know about the universe. I want to know about energy. Tesla was right. If you want to know about universe, you have to study energy. You have to study frequency and vibration. And so I'm studying those things. So I've been able to really make some good use of this time. And there's some other things that I want to do. To make even better use of my time. So yeah, just really trying to push the envelope in every way possible.
Cool. So my last question besides, hey, bye, give the drummer some, because it's a great record, is any last words for the kids?
Oh man, kids, enjoy the time that you have to be a child, to be youthful, to be fun, and carry that into your adulthood, because you never want to lose that. The inquisitiveness, the curiosity that you have, the fun natured things that you have, the imagination that you use. Don't lose that. Keep that. Stay positive, and know that you can turn this time, even though you're not able to be around all your friends, you're not able to be in school, you have to online school, but you can turn this time into something where you can really stretch your imagination. You can learn a lot of things, and you can develop your sense of knowingness, of who you are. We are all brought here as spirits to enhance and learn and have a physical experience, and that's kind of heavy for a child to hear, but it's true. So
Yeah. Heavy, but again, true.
But it's true. So just enjoy and learn, and understand that this too shall pass. So this is not the end all. This will pass, and we will get through it. Have faith in that.
Well, congrats again on this great record. I missed the Blue Note gig in New York, but hopefully you'll be back soon. I'll get to see you at a great venue like that. And really, thank you so much for your time, Cindy. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much. And another thing for the children, tell your parents to buy my record.
Not stream it, buy it. And on vinyl?
And the vinyl. We got vinyl and we have CD, and you can stream it too, but buy that record.
Exactly. We'll relay that, and thanks again so much for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you too. Have a great day. Stay glorious.
Paltrocast.